two different societies, to be able to speak two different languages fluently. So in higher education, being able to capitalize on that and creating leadership opportunities for these students. But you know, these are some recommendations. However, I think that our panelists can give us more insight. And if you don't, so we're now going to transition to the panelists. And if we just, for our guest, how many of you have heard the term transborder? So for those of you who haven't, our students are they're gonna share how they began to live a transborder lifestyle and how their current experiences are like. So whoever wants to start, you can go first.
I can start. So I started living my transborder lifestyle since I was born. I was born here in the U.S., here in San Diego, and we were living with my parents in Tijuana, and I was basically going to school there in Tijuana for a little bit. When we transitioned here to the U.S. to come here in high school, I started coming in here and crossing the border every day, waking up early and coming in to high school down in Chula Vista. And that's how I started, and that's how I have been living my transport style, my transported lifestyle. And until today, I mean, I basically now, we moved here, and I now live here in San Diego since 2000, it's like about 10 years ago. But I keep doing that transported lifestyle. I keep going to Tijuana for leisure. We have family there, and I keep going back and forth. So that transported lifestyle hasn't stopped, and it has become second nature to me to go back and forth between the two countries.
Well, I'm just transitioning right now to my transborder style. But since last year, I live here on campus, but my parents live in Rosarito, so I will go every weekend to visit them. So I will, every Sunday I will come cross the border, and it will have a great impact on my life because all the time that it took me to cross from Tijuana to San Isidro, it would take me 5 hours, 7 hours. So that had a great impact. And now that I'm gonna be living that every day, I think it's gonna be hard to get used to that.
Well, me too. I was born here in the U.S. and I grew up in Tijuana too. I finished what's middle school there and came over here. I moved with my grandma. She lives here. I left my parents behind. It's not that kind of it's such a far away. It's really not. But it felt that way because you don't really get to see them or talk with them every day. You just listen. So I came here in 10th grade. I'm still graduated from Chula Vista High School. Went to San Diego State. I came here. Then I didn't do so well, so I had to move to somewhere else. I went to City College, Miramar, Mesa, and then I saw Western. And I mostly cross every weekend because I don't think, it's not that I don't think, it's I know that I can handle live there and cross every day. It's quite an exhausting lifestyle.
Well, I started my cross-border experience almost since birth. I was born in San Diego. At a very young age, my parents and myself moved to Tijuana for economic reasons, and we just stayed there. I went to school in Tijuana up to high school level, but during that time when I was in kindergarten, I would cross pretty much every day. My mother would pick me up during her lunch hour and take me back to her job here in National City, where I would spend the rest of the day. So I've had that experience from a very early age. Once I finished high school, I remained as a Tijuana resident, but I started my college education in San Diego because as a U.S. citizen, I just wanted to obtain my college education in the States. I crossed the border while in Southwestern College for about 2 years. The last semester I did move to San Diego, so I was able to at least experience that, being a San Diego resident and go to school in San Diego. Went out to the Bay Area, finished my degree, came back to Tijuana actually, and I was crossing the border again daily for about 2 or 3 years, and about a year and a half I moved to Chula Vista. So I've been going back and forth. But now luckily I'm settled in San Diego and I don't have to cross as much. I do teach as a part-time professor just twice a week in a university in Tijuana. It's una universidad, so I do cross about 2 days a week, and I kind of hack the border, I guess, to use that term. I have a motorcycle, so that allows me to pretty much go all the way to the front and cut in. And like the wait goes from 3-4 hours to 5 minutes. So that's the way that, you know, myself and even my father, who also, he still lives in Tijuana, goes across the border every day, so that's how we kind of get around that issue. But it's been an interesting experience. It's, you know, having those experiences of being, you know, in Tijuana, crossing to the States to study, then to work, then living in the States and going across to Tijuana to work or visit family. So I guess I've had a little bit of both things.
I became a transporter when I was 5 years old. I was born in the United States in Chula Vista, and all my life I've been educated in the United States. All my life, well, formal education, and I would cross the border every day since I was 5 until about like high school years. There was like a shift there, and I didn't know like there was like this, that I was a transporter. To me didn't make sense back then. When I was 5 years old, there wasn't really a border. You would just like kind of cross. Like, you didn't even need any papers. No, you just say, "Oh, I'm a U.S. citizen." That was it. Yeah, that was it. You said U.S. citizen, boom, come across. And I was like that for a while, and then 9/11 happened, and like it just got really like militarized even more. And that's when transporter like really started feeling like transporter lifestyle. You know, there was like some harassment started happening, like the traffic got worse. My parents stopped crossing; they just were not into it anymore. So I would cross the border like walking every day to go to high school, and that's when I started realizing like, wow, there's this border that actually exists. And I was like that all high school, and then college. Like part of high school and college, then like my family decided to like find a place here in San Diego, and I would stay in San Diego some days, and weekends I would go to Tijuana, and that's how I was living for a while. And then when I went into college, I started staying in the States. Like when I was in community college, I would stay here a few days and would do like the commute, and then I started crossing again every single day. And then after I transferred to the Art Institute, I stopped crossing every day and would do only the weekends. And now, after that, now I work for a nonprofit here in San Diego, and after all those movements, I decided to cross the border every day. I actually decided to not be here every day. I figured out a way to hack it, so I found that I could make dollars, spend it in Mexico, and live a better lifestyle. And I even started a business in Tijuana, so I cross the border just about every day, and I found a way to hack it, so I still live that life to this day. I'm gonna go back today.
So what I would like is to open up discussion with all of you. You know, we mentioned, I mentioned some implications for practice, but I know that all of you are leaders in student affairs, leaders in the community college field. So what I'd like to do is invite you gentlemen to give some piece of advice to these leaders in order to ensure the success of Latino men who live a transborder lifestyle and attend a community college. So anything that comes to mind, and if nothing comes to mind at the moment, that's okay, but just some piece of advice that you would give them. And for you, if you could consider follow-up questions. So here's this advice, and now what are some follow-up questions that you might have to better help you understand how you can facilitate the success of these types of students?
I think just from a former community college student's perspective, I mean, I actually had a very pleasant experience at Southwestern College. Southwestern College is a community college that is very much focused on the Hispanic population. The Hispanic population at Southwestern Community